Hey guys, this is Mike, and we're back with a new video. It's a little different than the previous videos I did on technology, but this is an important issue. It's something that affects me, it affects a lot of people, and I just wanted to make a video about one of my big hobbies, and that's biking. So, with Corona going on, it seems that people are always looking for new hobbies and new activities to do. And it turned out that biking became huge demand. And just to show you, as I do some socks, let's take a look. An interesting one, Giant, a very popular bike company. They also have a manufacturing company and they're public. You can see right around when Corona started here, January, February, March, even around April, we're at about $100, $120. Over the course of 1, 2, 3 months, over 300. Man, you could have tripled your money in 3 months. But mentally for me, other than the fact that I missed buying the stock, I said, now would be a good time to get into biking, possibly upgrade, sell my current bike while demand is high, and then use that money to go buy an upgraded bike. Little did I know that I would be in for a huge headache trying to acquire a new bike. But before I kind of get into what's going on with that, I'll actually show you the process in which I use to make decisions, how I do my own analysis. And it's going to be through Excel, and you'll see all the different bikes. There's tons of options out there. It's not all inclusive. There's definitely great bikes that I didn't put on my list. What I had was based on what was available to me at the time and what bike shops were nearby, etc. And when we look at these bikes, I'm looking at road bikes. Specifically, I'm looking for carbon bikes, carbon fork, carbon frame, possibly carbon wheels. And you'll see that the price range for these varies greatly, but they're all in that relative 2,000 US dollars to about 4,000 US dollars. So I try to keep it within that range. Again, carbon bikes can jump up to over 10,000 if you really want something professional. Or you can even buy carbon parts from Chinese manufacturers or any local manufacturers and assemble your own bike for a little bit less. But this is coming straight from a manufacturer, reputable, whether it's in the US or if it's being shipped from a third-party company out there. All right, after calling every bike shop in the area, seeing what's in stock, what's not in stock, looking at online retailers, I kind of just started building a list of what I could possibly get, even if it wasn't in stock. They could still probably order for me. But let's just quickly go through it brand-wise. BMC, I was going to get one of their time machines or something like that, but nothing was in stock anywhere. Ribble, which is a pretty well-known British brand, Colnago, Cannondale, some Scots, more Cannondale, Colnago, Canyon, Orbea, and Bianchi. So I had a good mix of bikes. You can kind of see specifically what I was looking for were green, meaning this is what I wanted. I wanted carbon. I really wanted Ultegra. I wanted disc brakes possibly, but rim was also acceptable. And I kind of wanted carbon wheels if they came with them. As you can see, the majority of wheels came with aluminum. But the one I actually picked ended up having carbon wheels. But just to get a look at it, I had $750 from selling my old bike. And I told myself that I wanted a carbon bike, entry level, but had at least 105 or Ultegra. And out of pocket, I didn't want to spend more than $3,000. Basically, I need the price to be around $2,250-ish out of pocket, plus my $750 to take me to that $3,000. But the more I dug, I actually ended up getting down to about 3 bikes. I was really close to getting the Canyon. I was really close to getting the Endurance SL. And I was really close to getting the Scott. I could get the Addict RC30 in stock at a store. I would have drove down that day and picked it up. But it's a steep price tag to get carbon, Ultegra, and disc brakes. $3,500, which I felt was a lot. If you look at what I ended up getting in terms of everything else in comparison, I'm still getting a nice carbon frame. I am getting the Ultegra components. Getting rim brakes, not a deal breaker. I'm not biking down massive mountains 24/7. I'm not biking in the rain. Rims will be fine. And these actually come with, kind of just like the CAAD Addict, it has a carbon integrated handlebar, so all the wires are inside the actual handlebar. But the wheels that it comes with are Mavic Pros and Carbon Pros, which I believe has the aluminum braking surface, but then has the carbon built around the frame of the wheel itself. So it's kind of like a hybrid. It's not a true carbon wheel set, which costs almost $1,000 each wheel, technically, if you want a really nice pair. But you can see that that total price was only $2,600. So from $3,500 to about $2,600, almost $900 in difference. And the only real difference there is disc brakes, which didn't make too much sense to me. So out of pocket, I'd be spending about $2,350 instead of $3,000 out of pocket. So I said, you know what? Let me pocket that difference. There was a shipping charge because Ribble does, again, made in England, so that's the UK, so it's going to get sent over. But even with the shipping included. And I also threw in tax just in case. I'm not too positive how the customs works in New Jersey where I am, but I think I read somewhere that it was around 10, 11%. So just in case I threw in import customs. So even if I did go to the local bike shop, I'm still saving almost $650. All right, now that I already explained my desire for a new bike and also kind of going over how the market is in this current situation, I was able to sell my current bike, but I do want to show you what I'm coming from before I do the upgrade to the Ribble Endurance. So I had you can see in this picture, it's a Cannondale CAAD 8. The entire frame, the wheels, seat post, everything's aluminum. It's an entry-level road bike. The group's at Sora, Shimano Sora, so that's again another entry-level set of components. It's a 2x9 speed. No real issues. It was a great bike. Had it for 6 years. Threw on my own pedals on there. Those are Tiagra pedals. I got an FSA crankset, BB30 for the FSA bottom bracket. And wheels-wise, it's cheap Schwalbe Luganos at 23 millimeters wide for the tires. All in all, it was a good bike. It lasted a long time. Bought it for about $1,000. And I actually was able to sell it knowing that the market was high right now, demand was high, for about $750. So overall, good bike, and it's going to help me fund the purchase of this new bike. So let's get to the unboxing and the assembly. All right, guys, let's go over quickly the unboxing. You can see that the box from Ribble is extremely well kept in general. Covered in tape, very minimal, maybe some bumps here and there. But let's get into the actual unboxing. I definitely suggest that you get a razor blade. It's going to take a lot of cutting here. But overall, I'd say everything's well packaged. Everything that you expect to be there is in there. There you got the seat post, carbon seat post, little bag. It contains little parts like for the headset, some spare brake parts. Here you can see the quick release for the tires. You only need to do it on the front tire. The back tire's already put in. Tons of paperwork. And as you'll see, you also get your tires. I had Continental Ultra Sport 3s, but you can order whatever tires you want. And there are a ton of bubble wrap. And let's see here. We got our Carbon Pro wheels. Nice. Just got to throw the front wheel on. This took a long time to show up. This was ordered in May 28th, 2020. I didn't even have it shipped until July 9th. And then I finally had it delivered July 14th. So you can see you're going to need to put in the seat post. You're going to need to put the front wheel on. You're going to put the axle, the quick release axle through there. And because the headset's integrated, you're going to have to put the headset physically on, even though it's already technically sort of connected wiring wise. And I'll go over some pictures right after this as to how to officially assemble it, but I'm not going to go into every single detail on every single screw that you got to bolt in. We'll see. You got to get the integrated handlebar on, the tire, the seat post, and obviously you have to put your own pedals on. And you'll see later in some of the images, I also put on some vinyl helicopter tape, some mastic tape on the chain stays. There are tons of YouTube videos on how to apply those. We're just getting to the end here. Tons of bubble wrap. There was no cracks, no scratches. The frame looked great. Everything seemed very nice. No bumps. Nothing was bent. You always want to double check those. Make sure the derailleurs are straight. Make sure the fork doesn't have cracks. You can also turn the crank there. Make sure there's no friction as you're rotating. It should be smooth feeling. Taking off the final pieces there. And just to get a look at the headset, you got to put the bearings in the top and bottom. They should be in. You got the fork, push the fork through. And as you can see, the wires are already in the front. Then that little black piece there is the split ring. You're going to put that in. Then you'll put your spacers and then you'll clamp down everything on the handlebars. But just in the top of that steer tube, you're going to need to put the expansion bung. Make sure you put that in. Make sure you tighten it. And then squeeze everything together, you get the final product, and then you just bolt down that final top cap. And that should be it. It's fairly simple. If you have any issues, reach out to Ribble. They did a great job of replying to emails. Again, they're being bombarded with tons of messages from a lot of people, but they're doing their best. So just have some patience throughout this whole process, and you'll definitely be impressed with the final product. And lastly, guys, let's do a quick review for the Ribble Endurance SL. I've only had this for about 2 weeks. Was able to go on a couple rides. I want to base these scores on an average about 30-minute ride, hit about 10 miles. And let's just quickly go over it. The electrical engineer's overall score here is a 4.15 out of 5, which is a solid score. So cool factor, give it a 4.2. The bike looks great. You throw some decals on. It's an all carbon bike. It goes fast, feels good. I think it's great. So I'll give it a 4.2. Price, 4.3. It's definitely doing very well. I paid about $2,600 plus shipping, which I believe was like another $150, $160. Not bad. If you're looking for exactly the same specs that I have on another bike, you may be pushing the price a little bit more than what's actually listed. But I'll get into that in value. Buying process, as you can see, I ordered the bike May 28th, and it didn't even show up until July 14th. Clearly, there's tons of delays from multiple manufacturers. The components take a while to show up. So again, not all of this is just on Ribble as a bike company, but there's a whole bunch of factors that come in. But in general, it's about this time period. It took a really long time, over a month and a half, just about. So I gave it a 2.7. Nothing they can do about it. It's out of their hands, out of my hands. Now, build quality, 4.1. The bike's built great. It's carbon, the fork's carbon, the frame's carbon, the seat post is carbon, and I went for the level 5 carbon handlebars where they have the integrated cable routing. Again, the bike feels great. No other issues. There were no cracks, damage to the frame or anything. So build quality is fine. Nothing amazing, nothing bad about it. Value, where I really think this bike shines, I gave it a 4.7. It is very difficult to get an all-carbon bike with an Ultegra group set and having carbon wheels. So I thought that, along with the integrated handlebar that's also carbon, I think that's very hard to beat. There's some great bikes out there in similar price range. Even Canyon has similar bikes, but you might be missing out on maybe the seat quality or the carbon wheels themselves, whereas you get carbon versus aluminum. They're just little things for a general entry-level road bike with Ultegra components. And even rim brakes, not a big game changer for me since I'm not in the rain that much. I think it's a great value for what you're paying. Especially, again, this is considering where I am in New Jersey in the United States during the summer of COVID. Ride quality, it feels real smooth. Again, that's not always due to just the frame material, but it actually has a lot to do with the wheels and the tires as well. But it feels great. It's smooth and it's quiet. Seat comfort, the physics seat is fine. Nothing special. Again, on 10 miles in 30 minutes, no problems. I haven't gone for a really long ride yet, but I don't really see any feature issues coming up with that. The wheels, these are very basic Mavic Carbon Cosmic Pro 25s. Wheels vary greatly in terms of prices. They vary greatly in terms of depth of the actual carbon on the rim itself. Again, that all plays into the aerodynamics. If you want to get more into that, go watch Hambini. Great channel, great engineer. He knows all about wind resistances and aerodynamics and all those forces. But the wheels are fine. Nothing special about them at all, but they're good for coming with the bike itself. Now the tires, these are tubeless tires, and honestly, they feel great. Very smooth, very quiet, and very soft on the ground. It feels grippy, like sport tires kind of a feel. I gave it a 4.8 with a star. I have read a lot about these wheels, that they feel amazing, but they only last maybe about 5, 6, 7, 800 miles. Again, that's a manufacturer issue. We'll see how it is. I'll give an update on this bike probably in the future anyway, and we'll see what the comments say if you guys want an updated video maybe in 6 months or a year. Group set 4.7. Ultegra's fantastic. I was gonna give it anything higher, but 4.8 we can say that brings you up to Dura Ace, and then 4.9 will be Ultegra Di2, and then 5.0 would be Dura Ace Di2. Overall, great group set. The frame this power transfer, I gave it a 4.8. I think this is a great highlight of the bike, and it's something that anyone wants on any road bike. The feel when you push down with your clipless pedals, you feel that yourself as the engine of this bike is the limiting factor. No matter how hard you push down, the bike goes. You feel it. It almost pushes you back a little bit if you go too hard. So the bike feels great, Climbing up hills is amazing. You know, you're the limit. How well trained you are, how much endurance you have, is really going to test you on that. Finally, weight, give it about a 3.7. Compared to other bikes, it's actually a little heavier, but there is a big down tube. The frame's well built. It's monocoque, so it's a single structure of carbon. It's not multiple pieces all glued and, you know, put together like that. So I weighed it. I put the vinyl wrap, the helicopter tape from 3M all over it in all the certain areas that adds weight. I added mastic tape where the chain hits over the chainstay, and definitely do that on any bike that you get. But again, after a ride, I could see little oil marks on the chainstay, so it's definitely important to put mastic tape on there. That adds weight. The pedals obviously are going to add weight. Your bottle holder, and eventually you're going to put, like I put a little Wahoo element bolt on the front. The GPS computer is going to add weight. But I weighed it. It was about 19.16 pounds. You know, some bikes are advertising 7 kilograms, 8 kilograms. It's not a huge deal. The bike's an average weight. I think my aluminum bike before this was over 26, 27 pounds. So in general, for me, it's a huge upgrade. The bike feels super light to me, and it feels great riding it. So what would I say is my recommendation for it? I would go, oh yeah, kind of like, you know, Kool-Aid man. But the general consensus for me is that it's the best bang for your buck for a carbon Ultegra road bike during this specific 2020 summer with the COVID pandemic. No bike shops have anything in stock, and if they do have them in stock, the prices are astronomically high and always increasing. If I was looking for exactly what I wanted, Ribble had it. Some other bike companies had similar ones. Again, I kind of went over the differences between those bikes earlier in the video, where I compared on the Excel spreadsheet. But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully this helps you to help make your own buying decisions during this time, or if you're looking to upgrade your bike from aluminum to carbon. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. If you comment if you want me actually maybe to go over, create a new video reviewing the bike in a future update. And yeah, that's it. And this has been the Electrical Engineer's Perspective. Talk to you later.